Hey guys, gizmoddict here, and it's been a while since I've done a full review on the channel. The last phone that I reviewed was the Poco X2, but today I'm back with my thoughts on the Redmi Note 9 Pro. I have been using this phone since the last 1 month, and today I'm gonna tell you whether you should be buying this or not. If I have to be honest with you, when Xiaomi announced the Redmi Note 9 Pro, I wasn't happy with this phone. I felt that it was not an upgrade from the Redmi Note 8 Pro, but after using it, I think this is still one of the very good options that you get for less than 15,000 rupees. I want to talk about the processor first because Xiaomi has been marketing the 720G on the Redmi Note 9 Pro a lot. Because let's face it, it's the cheapest phone right now in the Indian market with a 720G. In fact, the funny thing is, when Xiaomi announced the Redmi Note 8 Pro, they were all about how G90T is the best thing ever. It can rival some of the flagship Snapdragon chipsets. It's a flagship grade phone. This, that, and then immediately when they switched to the 720G, they've now started claiming that 720G is not only better than G90T, but it's even better than the 730G. Well, that statement is partly true. If you compare it to the Helio G90T, in day-to-day performance, the Note 9 Pro feels a lot smoother, as well as it feels more fluid and fast in comparison to the Redmi Note 8 Pro. I have made a special comparison video comparing both of these phones, and in that video I've spoken about every aspect, be it performance, camera, battery life, so you can go watch it here. But the bottom line is that Redmi Note 9 Pro in day-to-day usage feels a lot more smoother and a lot more optimized than the Redmi Note 8 Pro. The memory management is much better on the Note 9 Pro, the overall speed and fluidity is much better than the Redmi Note 8 Pro. So for an average user, the Note 9 Pro is clearly an upgrade from the Redmi Note 8 Pro in terms of performance. But then I have one complaint from Xiaomi. They have marketed the 720G so much that they forgot to optimize it for the Redmi Note 9 Pro when it comes to gaming. Now I've played PUBG on the Realme 6 Pro and then on the Redmi Note 9 Pro. Both of these phones get the 720G, but the performance on the Realme 6 Pro is so much better. You can go watch my Realme 6 Pro as well as my Redmi Note 9 Pro PUBG review, and the Note 9 Pro for some reason has issues with PUBG. If you're playing a very intensive game and you have a lot of enemies around, the frame rates will immediately drop. Sometimes they even go to the 20s, and then a lot of times you get these frame freezing problems. Even with GFX tool you could see the frame drops, and a couple of other reviewers have also noticed it. So when it comes to gaming, the Note 9 Pro is not good. Xiaomi has not optimized it. In fact, I got the update recently on the Redmi Note 9 Pro, a major update that fixed a couple of things, and even after that the PUBG performance is still not improved. So if you're gonna ask me for gaming, I will not recommend the Redmi Note 9 Pro. Stay away from the Redmi Note 9 Pro if you want to do gaming, especially PUBG. But apart from that, in day-to-day usage, it's a very good phone. Snapdragon 720G is better than G90T. Apart from the day-to-day performance, where you also see more improvements because of the 720G is in terms of battery life. The Redmi Note 8 Pro got a 4500 mAh of battery, and the G90T was a 12 nanometer processor and it was known to be power hungry. But then the Redmi Note 9 Pro has 5020 mAh of battery, and this phone has the 720G, which is based on 8 nanometers. So the processor is a lot more efficient, and trust me, Redmi Note 9 Pro has been the best phone when it comes to battery life. It's the best battery life phone that I have tested recently in the past 1 year or so, and I've gotten more than 10 hours of screen on time on a single charge, which I have never gotten on any phone. The only phone that has come close to it is the Moto One Power with 9 hours of screen on time. But on my usage, normally I get 6 to 7 hours of screen on time even on the phones with the best battery life. The Redmi Note 9 Pro was the only phone where I could cross more than 10 hours of screen on time over a period of 1.5 days. So the battery life is absolutely crazy, and if you want the phone with the best battery life, just close your eyes and get the Redmi Note 9 Pro. The only complaint here I have is that Xiaomi has not given you a fast charging option like they've done with the Redmi Note 9 Pro Max, and because of that this phone will at least take 2 hours to charge. If Xiaomi could have given a faster charging option, then the faster charging plus the ever long lasting battery life would have given an insane combo. If Realme can give a 30-watt charging option on the Realme 6 along with a 90Hz display, Xiaomi could have definitely given us a faster charging option, but sadly they didn't, and that's one thing that I'm gonna nitpick and complain about. But the Redmi Note 9 Pro is the best battery life phone that you will get in this price bracket, and maybe even in price brackets above it. That brings us to the most controversial part of the Redmi Note 9 Pro, the cameras. The Redmi Note 8 Pro was one of the first phones with the 64 megapixel Samsung sensor, but then on the Redmi Note 9 Pro they've instantly downgraded the sensor from 64 megapixels to 48 megapixel. This is the Samsung GM2 sensor, and the performance of this sensor is good. The good thing is that because you've got a Snapdragon processor, Google Camera is supported on this phone, and with Google Camera the performance comes very close to the Redmi Note 8 Pro. Redmi Note 8 Pro also has a really nice working Google Camera, but Note 8 Pro still sometimes is better than the Note 9 Pro in a couple of cases. Even if I compare it to the Realme 6, I think with Google Camera the Redmi Note 9 Pro comes very close to the Realme 6. So you need Google Camera on the Redmi Note 9 Pro to get that really nice quality photos, and I will link the best Gcam in the description. Recently I've gotten a Gcam on which even the macro lens and the wide angle lens work. So the Redmi Note 9 Pro's camera is average if you use the stock camera app, but as soon as you jump to Google Camera, the camera performance becomes really good. I won't call it the best camera in this segment. I think the Redmi Note 8 Pro still overtakes this phone, but the Redmi Note 9 Pro comes really close. In fact, if I talk about all of the secondary lenses, while the wide angle lens is the same as the Redmi Note 8 Pro, actually the macro lens is an upgrade from the Redmi Note 8 Pro. Now you've got a 5 megapixel macro lens, and it does actually take some really nice and sharp macro photos. So if you're into macro photography, you would like this, and the new Gcam also supports macro mode, so that's really great. I've actually covered the camera comparison in detail with the Realme 6 and with the Redmi Note 8 Pro in a separate video, so you can watch it here. And one thing I would like to mention is that the videos were really good on this phone. If I compare it to the Note 8 Pro as well as to the Realme 6, the stabilization was very good on the Redmi Note 9 Pro. They've also added stabilization to the wide angle lens, so overall I feel in terms of video, the Note 9 Pro does a very good job. Under 15,000 rupees, this is one of the best phones to take video. So cameras are not path breaking. Xiaomi has not done anything great with the cameras. They are good, they'll get the job done, and you wouldn't have any complaints provided you will install the Gcam APK on the Redmi Note 9 Pro. I will be making a detailed video very soon. Xiaomi has made another major change in terms of display, and now on the Redmi Note 9 Pro you no longer get a notch design, but in fact this time you've got a punch hole which is very similar to the Galaxy S10 Lite or the S20 series. The display quality I feel is better than the Redmi Note 8 Pro, and with the recent update, Xiaomi has also added HDR capabilities to the Redmi Note 9 Pro. This one also comes with Widevine L1, so if you want to consume a lot of content, you can do it in HD. But the problem is that you cannot see it on my phone because for some reason, my Redmi Note 9 Pro has been pushed down to Widevine L3, and because of that, Netflix and Amazon Prime are not working in full HD. You can still see that HDR is supported here, so that's great. But I think there is some problem with my unit because I did ask a couple of other reviewers and their phone was working fine with the Widevine L1. So bad luck on my unit, but the point is HDR is now supported on the Redmi Note 9 Pro, and the display quality is also very good. Note 9 Pro and Note 9 Pro Max both share the same display, and when you compare it to the Redmi Note 8 Pro, the colors and the overall display quality is better. So I've got no complaints with the display on the Redmi Note 9 Pro, and even if I talk about the design and the build quality, this is one of the best built phone under 15,000 rupees. That's the thing that I like about Xiaomi. Even on the Redmi Note 8 Pro, they gave a glass body, and even on the Redmi Note 9 Pro, you get Gorilla Glass on the back as well as on the front. And the design has been completely changed, and while the phone looks very similar to a Huawei phone, I do like the design here. Although I don't know who was naming the colors because the Interstellar Black that I have kind of looks like blue, and their Aurora blue shade kind of looks like green. So I don't know what was the guy who named the colors was smoking, but the colors are really nice and I like the design on the Redmi Note 9 Pro. The only thing is that I wasn't a big fan of the build quality because in spite of having Gorilla Glass 5, I could see multiple scratches on the phone. My display has been completely scratched. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there are a lot of deep scratches on my display, and I've also somehow managed to scratch the camera. I'll agree that I'm not super careful with my phones. A lot of my other phones, even the flagship phones, have gotten a lot of scratches over time, so I'm not gonna blame the phone. I'm just saying that use a tempered glass and a cover so that you don't scratch your phone in day-to-day usage. No matter how careful you will try to be with your phone, there will be that one instance where you will drop it or scratch it, so it's better to be safe than to be sorry. But overall, the design and the build quality is still one of the best in this segment. Realme is still giving you a plastic body on the Realme 6. So in comparison to that, the Note 9 Pro feels much more premium. It feels much more rich and solid in the hand. So props to Xiaomi for still going with a glass body on the Redmi Note 9 Pro. They've also moved the fingerprint sensor to the power button this time. That's the trend in 2020. All of the phones are getting the fingerprint sensor integrated with the power button, and I like it. No complaints there. It's a hardware sensor. Works really well. Accuracy is great. No issues with it. And Xiaomi has also retained the IR port that a lot of us like. In terms of software, the Redmi Note 9 Pro currently is running on Android 10, that is based on MIUI 11, and overall the MIUI experience has been great. If I compare it to Realme UI, I always find MIUI to be better than Realme UI. I don't know why, but MIUI just feels a lot more optimized, and even if I talk about developer support, it's always much better on MIUI in comparison to the Realme UI. I didn't face any lags or any issues with the Redmi Note 9 Pro. They've optimized MIUI 11 really well, but I have just one complaint with Xiaomi, and that is ads. So when I got the Redmi Note 9 Pro initially, for some reason they had disabled the ads on the review unit, and after the first sale I started seeing ads on the Redmi Note 9 Pro. So you get those typical ads when you install an app or when you open their themes app. So those things can be handled, you can turn them off. But what I really hate is that even if you accidentally swipe up on the home screen or you open the browser app, it shows you such weird and such vulgar ads that I just think, what is Xiaomi even doing? Like, what the is wrong with Xiaomi? This doesn't happen on other phones, and peculiarly a lot of these Xiaomi phones have this. A lot of reviewers have also called it out, but Xiaomi has not listen to them. There is an option to disable it. You can go to the browser setting and turn off recommendations. But my question is, why do you want to put such ads on the Redmi phone? Given that a lot of the users might be parents, they might be elderly people, they might be young teenagers, why do you want to forcefully push content like this? I've seen this before, and it's high time now. You can see the screen, and this is a freshly set up Redmi Note 9 Pro. So it's not like there is some search history and based on that it's giving you those recommendations. It's a freshly set up Note 9 Pro, and even there you get such vulgar content. So I just have this issue with Xiaomi. You can disable it like I said, but if someone from Xiaomi is watching, seriously, why the hell are you guys doing it? If brands like Realme and all can survive without giving such vulgar ads, you guys can also do that. So Xiaomi, please fix this thing on your phone before it turns out to be a big issue and people start abandoning your phones. Talking about some other things, this is one of the first phones to get the Navic GPS satellite support. So Navic is India's satellite for GPS, which will give you much stronger connection and much more accurate GPS data as well. So this is India's first satellite, and this is one of the first phones to support it. Unfortunately, there is no way that I can test it out right now because all of us are locked down. I haven't gone out in days, let alone starting Google Maps and doing a navigation. But the thing is, it supports Navic. And even if I talk about some other things, you've got dual SIM support here, voice over Wi-Fi, voice over LTE is supported. There is a dedicated micro SD card slot, and even the loudspeaker, they've improved from the Redmi Note 8 Pro. And audio via the headphone jack is good as well. No major complaints there. And last thing that I would like to mention is that Xiaomi has also improved the vibration motor on the Redmi Note 9 Pro. So when you type on the phone or when you use the camera app and things like that, you will feel that added vibration. But personally, I am someone who doesn't notice the vibration motor that much, but a lot of people kept asking me about it, so I thought I'll just mention it. But overall, that's your Redmi Note 9 Pro. It's not a major leap from the Redmi Note 8 Pro, it's just an incremental update. There are a couple of advantages along with a small amount of disadvantages as well. If you'd ask me whether you should be buying the Redmi Note 9 Pro or not, I honestly have no problems in recommending it. When you put the Realme 6 into the equation, now Realme 6 has two things going for it. It's better when it comes to gaming and it has that 90Hz display. But Realme 6 has its own issues where you don't get HD support in Amazon and Netflix. Realme has said that because of MediaTek there are some issues and they haven't fixed it so far. The phone also heats up a lot when you're gaming on it, so you have to keep that in mind. And the developmental support or the Gcam support is close to none on the Realme 6. But if you're someone who wants to experience the 90Hz display and you want to play PUBG, Realme 6 is a good option. But actually from an average user's perspective, the Redmi Note 9 Pro offers better build quality, feels nice in the hand, the day-to-day performance is really good, it doesn't heat up or anything, the camera performance is great, the battery life is really good, and the display with the HDR capabilities is also great. So I think for an average user, the Redmi Note 9 Pro would make more sense than the Realme 6, but if you're an enthusiast, you can pick up the Realme 6. Although for less than 15,000 rupees, if you want a phone specifically for PUBG, I would say either pick the Poco F1 or then go with the Redmi Note 8 Pro. Note 8 Pro still outperforms the Note 9 Pro as well as the Realme 6 when it comes to PUBG. But my recommendation to you would be, if you can, just extend your budget by 2 or 3,000 rupees and go buy the Poco X2. But if you can't, the Redmi Note 9 Pro is not a bad phone and I wouldn't have any problems in recommending it. So that's basically my review of the Redmi Note 9 Pro. What do you guys think about this phone? Please let me know in the comments. Do you agree with my opinions? Do you not agree with my opinions? Please drop your feedback down in the comments. If you guys have any more questions, you can always ask me on my Facebook, Twitter and Instagram page. That's it for now. Thanks for watching and I will be back in our notifications very soon. Peace.